everyone talks about finding the next 100x project, but they either only look at shitcoins and lose all of their money, or they look at the blue chips that have proven themselves but are too saturated. Well, that's not exactly the smartest way how to approach this. So let me show you a reasonable strategy that will give you the sweet multiples you're looking for by using 3 pillars that I will introduce and explain in the course of this video. Let's go. So to start with, if you hold Solana or AVAX and think they could do 100x or some similar types of crazy returns, well, that's not gonna happen to a very high degree of certainty. And I'm very sorry if I'm popping a bubble right now, but it's not gonna work like that. Crypto is not a free lunch, and there's no magic money printer either. Every market, and crypto is not an exception to this, is just redistributing money between the market participants. This shouldn't come as a surprise, but sometimes people have to be remembered. And if you still ask me why Solana isn't able to do another 100x, well, it's just because it's already too big. Solana already did more than 100x, but that already lies behind. And if you're in for investing in a kind of safe bet crypto that for sure will do very, very well, I mean, don't forget, Solana from its bear market lows already did around 20x. Again. But that's not what you should look at the moment if you're indeed looking for gains similar to 100x. So do ask yourself, do you really want this kind of gains? Or is it more important to you that the coin you're investing in is kind of safe and there's basically no possibility that the project will go to zero? Because if you're not ready to take the risk, then these kind of gains won't be reasonable. So I just said Solana is too big or too saturated. And more specifically, I mean the market cap. And this means the market cap is our first rough indication of how likely it is that we can see crazy multiples like 100x. Of course, also the fully diluted market cap, but that's another story at the moment. Generally, the following rule holds true. The lower you go in the ranking of the market cap, the higher the risk, but at the same time, the higher the likelihood for 100x like returns. And now between the two of us, let's be honest, if it only does 80 or 90x or even only 50x only, it should be fine as well. Don't be too greedy. Good. So the market cap is the first pillar we have to look at. The second important pillar, and quite frankly, it's the most important thing in anything finance, investing, trading, is supply and demand, as you know for sure. And what's the most easy and proven way to ensure that we leverage this fact? It is simply what narratives are hot and hyped at the moment. Because if something is a narrative, that means there is more demand for a specific sector as people deem it more valuable or interesting. So most of their attention goes to these sectors, and it's more likely that they will throw their money at it. So even less great projects within a great narrative will do pretty good eventually. Now, if we're able to find great projects within a great narrative, well, that's when it gets really interesting. And remember the first pillar, the market cap. If the project still has a low market cap and on top of that great community, solid tokenomics, well, jackpot, that's the sweet spot we're looking for. You just quadrupled your chance of hitting 100x. And still, it's no certainty. I hope you're aware. So again, the first pillar is the market cap, the second pillar is the narrative, and the third pillar, I already mentioned it, is the tokenomics. And if you're watching my videos for some time, more specifically the altcoin reviews, you know that I look very intensely on the tokenomics of a project. And this is then kind of the more long-term view, because I said a not so great project within a great narrative can pump in a very big way. But if the tokenomics are bad, then the chance that the project will hold up is to a multitude lower, and the likelihood of a pump and dump scenario is at a multitude higher. You can think of the tokenomics as the heartbeat of a project, or more rationally, everything that moves supply and demand. And if this doesn't add up, this increases the chance for maybe a rug pull down the road or some other situations that disable you to realize your gains in any way. So now that we have these three pillars, market cap, narrative, and tokenomics in mind, let's have a look together at what this means in practice. Let's look at some projects, go into the narratives, and see where demand is at. Now, before we go into the narratives, let's have a look at the overall projects sorted by market cap. And as you can see here, more specifically, Ethereum is at $430 billion. Solana is at $87 billion. These are very heavy and big projects. And if we go past pass the top 10 projects, we're already at $13 billion. And if we completely scroll down to the top 100, we're already at around $1 billion in market cap. So past the top 100, it starts to get interesting because now we're starting to look at the small caps. So for reference, a project that is between $1 and $10 billion in market cap is called a mid cap. Everything above $10 billion is a large cap, and subsequently everything below $1 billion is a small cap. Of course, we can introduce more levels. For example, a project that is below $100 million in market cap is then called a nano cap. Now, these kind of projects we're looking at right now, Kava, Jasmine Coin, I already made a video about it, Blur, Osmosis, these are known projects. It's not like they're completely undercover, although we had to scroll down in the ranking quite a bit. Now, when we're looking at the threshold between small caps and nano caps, we can see that still a lot of projects are well known. Gods Unchained, Polka Starter, CLV, you should have heard about them. Now the first question is it reasonable that a project with around $100 million in market cap does 100x still? Well, 100 times 100 million means 10 billion and would mean it has to rise to the echelons of Polygon and Chainlink, meaning the top 15 projects in the whole crypto market. So it would really have to turn out to be a real banger of a project. So it would not be too easy. And in this kind of scenario, the tokenomics would play a big role. Because if there's crazy amounts of dilution, 100x in market cap would not mean 100x in price. But that's a more in-depth topic. Now, let's dive deeper into the dungeons of the crypto market. We're now at $50 million in market cap, and still there's some pretty known tokens like Hacken or Citus. Now, if we go further down to around $10 million in market cap, this is where it starts to get more interesting. As now 100x in market cap would mean $1 billion in market cap. But this is now where we have to do a real in-depth look at the project, what it's doing, what's the tokenomics, does it even make sense or is it just a shitcoin? So this vicinity and even way down below in market cap is where we should look at in general if we really want to take on the risk and look for the next 100x. Something I just spotted and know about and seems to be one of the more interesting projects is Chirply, but that's just as a teaser, no financial advice. Now let's bring in the narratives, as this will make it a bit easier to find projects where demand is really high. The biggest narratives we have at the moment are AI and gaming, but also RWA, real world assets. And before we look into the projects, you can see right away the whole combined market cap of the AI sector or the AI narrative is nearly $44 billion. And that is really low for a whole sector with high demand. For comparison, the two biggest narratives of last cycle were DeFi and NFTs. And DeFi as a narrative hit an all-time high of around $170 billion in market cap. And I actually think that AI might see an even bigger market cap at the top of this cycle. Same goes for gaming. This is just sitting at around $33 billion. Now, the two biggest projects within this narrative are Near and Render. And these are also the two projects that will attend the NVIDIA GTC conference that is starting today. By the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and watch my review about Render and also the one about Fetch AI. Both of them are great projects, and these big AI projects are the ones to hold if you're looking for a safe bet and just want to ride the AI narrative without too much risk. But we are here for the crazy multiples and 100x's, and for that, you already know it, we have to scroll down. Now with $500 million market cap, we have PolAI, and below that OXO. RSS3, good projects, but still too high for 100x, probably. And if we go down to the nano caps of $10 million in market cap and even way below that, this is where it gets really interesting for crazy multiples. This is exactly where to look at, but that's not enough. Of course, now you could go ahead, throw money at 10 of these projects and hope they will pump crazy. They might even do it, but that's pure gambling and could result in a rug pull down the road. The correct way, of course, is to go through all of these tokens. I know it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, but that is the way. You have to look at what they're doing, what are their tokenomics, what's the team, is there a great community emerging, and so on. You know it from my videos. I know it might not be too trivial. It takes knowledge, it takes experience. It also takes some kind of gut feeling that you develop over the years in crypto, and that in the end will significantly increase your chances of picking some great projects here in this narrative, for example. For reference, this project Deep South AI is something I reviewed in my community picks video, where I looked into a project that you, the community, has wished for. And it claims to be some revolutionary AI that utilizes neuromorphic computing, which actually is cutting edge technology. But if you go deep into this project, you can see that they're just utilizing the ChatGPT and some other APIs and nothing more. Then they claim to be a partner of NVIDIA and some more funny stuff. And then I found out that Deep South is actually a super sophisticated supercomputer that uses neuromorphic computing. And this project just took the name and made a crypto token out of it. So this is basically a shitcoin. And at first sight, this is not too obvious. You have to really dig into. And in best case, you understand what these technologies are and if it is likely that this very new and small project is really able to make a dent into this crazy technology topic. And if you know your stuff, it's pretty obvious, no, it's not possible, it's not reasonable. And of course, in my case, it's a bit more obvious. I'm a software developer. I can spot these things fairly quick and fairly easily and not directly fall for it. Now, back to the narratives. Of course, same holds true for gaming. If you buy Immutable X or Beam, Gala, Multiverse X, these are kind of the safe bets of gaming. You basically cannot go wrong with these. You will make good money with it, but for the 100Xs again, you have to scroll down. You know the thing. By the way, one more thing. It's not only the narratives you could look at for crazy multiples. Remember the beginning when I talked about big projects like Solana or AVAX that have proven themselves but are too saturated for giving you 100X? Now they can still help you in some way, and that is through their ecosystem. Same as these topic narratives, the ecosystem of a very strong coin like Solana is kind of a narrative in itself. And therefore you can apply the same strategy by looking at small and nano caps that are within the scope of Solana. And then sometimes we can spot very interesting intersections. Like you've just seen that Render is part of the AI narrative. And now the thing is, Render did an upgrade from an ERC20 token, so a token that is based on Ethereum, to an SPL token, which is a token based on Solana. And this means that Render is now part of the Solana ecosystem, so part of this narrative and also of course part of the AI narrative. And this kind of makes for a double narrative hype scenario. Now, if you can find a nanocap that lies within multiple narratives, this is then something to really keep on your watch list. If there's a small cap you think is interesting and that you would like to see covered on this channel, please let me know down in the comment section. Guys, I hope you gained massive value in this video. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please ask yourself why, and do it now. You really don't want to miss any of the next videos. I will share so much alpha and I'm preparing a lot for you, my dear community. Also, when we hit the 1000 subscribers soon, I have an announcement to make. If you don't have enough, here's my best in class altcoin reviews and my latest video. Of course, this was not financial advice. Please always do your own research and due diligence. This was Prince for you. Crush the markets. Until next time, goodbye.